Mm, Almost done checking on this and we'll get started here in a second.
All right.
Perfect. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning to everybody that's tuned in. Thank you for hopping on. I see Brian Dice. I also see Peter Brissett and Parker Brown. Good morning to you guys. Some of your messages are starting to come through, so I'll pull those on here while I get started with our housekeeping. For those of you that are coming back to us, thank you for tuning in and staying engaged on all the resources available to you at any point in time to use, especially during the time of COVID. We're seeing a lot of support from our counties, from our city and area businesses. If you're watching this and find a lot of the content valuable, I ask that you share this out to your network so they're just as informed as you are and can utilize some of the services or benefits that are available to them. If this is your first time on our page, I encourage you to come back to us, and you can be reminded to do so if you hit the like button and hit the follow on our Facebook page and be notified when we do post content live. At the same time that this broadcast is taking place here on our Facebook page, we are linking it to our YouTube channel. That's Westminster Chamber of Commerce, and you can find many of our videos available to you in the video section of our Facebook page and on our resource hub. That's westminsterchamber.biz COVID-19 updates. Now, I've already started to display a few of our comments. I see Wayne Anderson. Good morning to you as well, Wayne. Thank you for hopping onto the screen. This is a function that we like to use quite often during our live broadcast. It's our way of engaging with you and making this a platform that's more interactive rather than just informative. So as you're hearing our speaker for today sharing information, beneficial content, if you have comments, if you have compliments, just widgets of knowledge that you've picked up, or you have more questions that you want to ask us, please be sure to use the comment section on this video to engage with us. We'll be able to take up those comments or questions after our speaker has gone over some of the content. With that, I want to go ahead and introduce today's topic. As you all are aware, on Wednesdays, we generally bring in an expert to share either on a business topic that you can implement in your business and adapt to COVID, or on a specific topic that's designed to help you during this time. So today's speaker, who I have with us, is from the Jeffco, I want to say public health, but Tiana is going to actually tell me and correct me if I'm accurate in saying her department, and she'll go over what she does. But mainly the topic for today is some of the programs that we've done in partnership with Jeffco, including the PPE distribution that we've started to post out about. Many of you have seen some of the photos and the pop-up distribution sites that we're doing. And so she's here to share more about that program, some other things that might be coming up, but we encourage you to engage with us along the way. So Tiana, I will mute myself and have you take this over.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I am with Jeffco on the CARES Act team. We're here to distribute those dollars to the community and help support the impact of COVID-19. And I have started taking over the personal protective equipment program for small businesses and nonprofits. And I'd like to give you a brief overview of who would qualify for the program, some information that we're looking for, and give you some stats on what we've been able to accomplish in the past month. So for the program, we will provide each business with 2 bottles of hand sanitizer, 2 white packages, and a box of each size of gloves. And we do have sizes small through extra large. And that is something that's allocated per order, and you are welcome to apply more than once. That is something that we've set per order to make sure that we can fit the needs of a wide range of applicants. And some of the things that we're looking for, that I'll show you the application towards the end of my presentation, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what you'll need to apply. If you have a DUNS number for your business, or if you're able to obtain that, we would ideally we would like to have that, but we do need a tax ID number, and we'll need, if you're currently operating, in order to qualify, you'll need to have been in operation before March 1st of 2020. That way we're helping people who have been impacted by this challenging year. I would like to know what industry you belong to, and then we are working with the chambers to distribute this equipment to you. So what I do is I process your application, and then I collaborate with the chambers to ensure that they have that stock on hand for you, and you'll be emailed a form which you'll take to your chamber, and you'll be able to pick that up. And what we're looking for businesses that are small micro businesses, less than 25 employees, nonprofits that has a little bit more flexibility, but we are looking to serve people who have been most impacted, and small businesses, it has been very challenging. And then what we have actually been able to accomplish is in the past month, we've served 62 businesses, nonprofits. I have 10 that I'm processing this week, so it'll be about 72 businesses that we'll reach this week, so that's very exciting. And I kind of wanted to give you an idea of what the Jefferson County Emergency Operations Center has been able to provide to the community. We have gotten 116 bottles of hand sanitizer, 126 white packages, 5,600 masks, 4,000 small gloves, 5,100 medium gloves, 7,200 large gloves, and 3,600 extra large gloves. So we're really eager and excited to serve you and your business. And so what I would like to do is I'd like to go over to how do you find this form and be able to navigate from there. So I have my screen shared. Of course, it's really great that the Westminster Chamber has this under their news section on their homepage. So you'll see the news section on your left-hand side, and you can click on their link to the form. So you'll go here, you'll know that you'll want to go. So this is how you'll apply. You'll go click here to apply. And then that'll pop up to the Jefferson County webpage. Then from there, scroll down in this form center, and you'll see where I mentioned that DUNS number. And if you need more information about how to obtain a DUNS number, there is a link to the right of that entry right there. You'll see where you'll need your tax ID number. And this is where you'll enter in how many masks you're requesting. Masks do come in boxes of 50. So per order, we will give you up to 100 per order. And hand sanitizer bottles, by default, we're giving everybody 2. So if you need some, we'll give you 2. If you don't need any, you can just add a 0 and we'll pass that for next time. And of course, you can always reapply if you do need them in the future. We are running this program through December. We don't have a set date just yet of when we will cut it off, but it is a rolling basis through December. And then back to the gloves. Gloves do come in boxes of 100, so you'll put 100 in these fields if you need a box of gloves, and if you don't, you can just press the 0 from there. And then you'll go down and enter your business name, and then you'll have your contact information that you'll need from there. That way I can reach out to you, I can send you that email with your form, and I can collaborate with your local chamber to make sure that they have those supplies for you. And then going back to what we'll need for those essential qualifications, we'll need you to be currently open and operated. Business, nonprofit, that's fine. Just for the businesses, 25 or less employees. As it says here, if you've been open before March 1st, based on that impact. And then we'd like to know what kind of industry that you belong to. And then you just submit that form. It's really straightforward. And I'll personally reach out to you and let you know that you've been awarded. And I'll reach out and make sure that your chamber has your supplies, and we're here to help. So that is the most essential overview that I have. I wanted to mention that if you didn't go to the Westminster homepage, that there's a few other options where you can find this form. You can go to the Jefferson County homepage, and up here at the very top, you'll see the coronavirus updates and resources. And so if you click on that, it'll pull up all the different resources we have available. On the left-hand side, you'll see the CARES Act Emergency Grant Funding Program. Click on that left-hand side. Give it just a moment and it'll pull up. And then from here, you'll be able to find all the resources we have available for the community. And you'll see these two little bubbles and their links. They will be updated this week with some recent grant programs that will be rolling out. So you may see this change just a bit if you are on this page, but you'll see the personal protective equipment link. And you'll just click on that link and it'll take you right back to that form that we were just looking over. So those are just a couple of ways for you to learn more about the grant offerings that we have and how to obtain that form. And I think that is the overview that I have, and I would love to answer any questions if there are any.
Of course, thank you so much, Tiana. And we've had a lot of people that have hopped on here with us. I see Christina, I also see Noelle, I see Counselor Demont. Thank you guys for tuning into our broadcast this morning. And Bernadette, thank you for also hopping on here. We have Tiana from the Jeffco. She is actually as part of the response team for COVID and is in charge of the distribution of the CARES Act dollars and through some of the programs that they've been able to offer, of course, in partnership with their local municipalities and their local chambers, which COVID has blessed us in working together a lot more closely and collaboratively, and I'm very fortunate for that. We've had a number of questions that are on here. Some I know the answers to, but I want to give a chance for you to be able to answer those to the guests that are on here. First off, we did have a quick remark from Counselor Demont sharing a good morning message your way. Thank you, Counselor, for being informed so you can help our business and overall community during this time. We appreciate that. So this question does come to us from Christina. She's asking if the program is just for Jefferson County or does it also include Adams County? As most of our viewers are tuned in, then they know that Westminster is a unique hybrid with 60% of us in ADCO and 40% of our businesses and overall community in the Jefferson County side. Often whenever we have programs, we get the questions of, is it exclusive to this county over the other, or is it both? And so this is one of those instances where the question is being asked.
And that is an excellent question. As far as I know, it is for Jefferson County businesses, but I would love to follow up with that question and find out if we can extend our reach.
Okay. My understanding was that it was for any of our businesses in Westminster. So, okay. Yes. So, and what we do try and do, just Christina, so you're aware, we always, anytime, especially when it's been CARES dollars, we've tried to pressure both our counties to make sure that they reciprocate. A great example are many grants that were on the Adams County side. Those are 3 that any businesses can apply to: compliance, operations, and their technology grants. Even though it's through the ADCO website that you apply, it is open to any business in Westminster since it is collaborative partnership with Westminster and ADCO. So I was aware that is a similar approach that we're hopefully taking on that.
And it sounds like it could be because the form doesn't specifically say that, but I would definitely like to follow up on that.
Yes, thank you so much. And Brian Dice, our board chair, is sharing that he really appreciates all that you're doing to assist our small businesses, especially with this additional burden. You know, Tiana, you shared a statistics and numbers for us actually, as far as 5,100 in gloves, the breakdown of these supplies, and that's been extremely hard for businesses to find access to. That isn't such a price gouge that's going on, but the delay on some of that for our businesses has even hurt them in the long run.
I can imagine. Certainly a challenge with the supply chain and all of that.
So this question comes to us from Wayne. Wayne's question relates to the DUNS number. So on the application, for those of you that are hopping on or tuning in with us, Danielle, good morning to you. We had Tiana go over this program that's in partnership with Jeffco, the PPE distribution that we now are hosting. You apply through the program on the Jeffco direct website, even though you can access the link on ours as well. And through this, one component of the application, and it's a relatively simple application that you can go through, the top portion does ask for a DUNS number. And so this question comes to us from Wayne. He's asking, although we have a DUNS number, why that number versus our business license number or any other of the many numbers that our businesses have, right, through the state, through a county, whenever we're requesting those specific permits. I mean, why this one as opposed to any of the ones that we may have access to?
I can certainly understand, the wondering why with all those numbers. We actually use it for internal tracking measure through the CARES Act dollars. So that's something that streamlines the process.
Excellent. That's great to know. And it is super easy to find. So the other day, we've been doing pop-up distribution sites of the chamber. We want to encourage foot traffic in some of those businesses that are not gaining that foot traffic. And while there was a business that wanted to apply, so I pulled up the application with them and we kind of went through it. The DUNS number does actually also show a link that you can click on. So if you don't know what that is or you don't know what yours is, you can click on that. And when you click on it, it actually asks for information about your business, and it's only like 4 lines. I think it's their phone number, the name of your company, and your address. And once you type that in, it will pull up those companies that are either one is yours or some that might be similar. And right then you can find out what your DUNS number is. You can email it to yourself. You can print it. So it's good to have even past this application, I feel like, for anything in the future.
That's a great resource.
Yeah. So Brian's question, and I think we touched on this slightly, and I'll be curious to throw you another question complementing this, if that's okay. And this relates to if businesses need more supplies, can they reapply? Similarly, we have maxed rates on the application, meaning that there's a maximum number of masks that you can select, a maximum number of gloves, if they're approved for the maximum, but they needed 7 boxes as opposed to the 1 box that they had requested. Can they reapply when they run out, or do they immediately kind of go into a lower queue because they'd already received those supplies?
I'm processing the applications every week, and I absolutely encourage you to reapply. I have not been told there is a set cap in terms of how many times you can reapply, and so as long as the supplies are available, we're here to help. We just set that max just to make sure we can serve as many people as possible with what the inventory we have on hand while we're waiting on ordering more, of course.
Absolutely. And a follow-up to this, if you have this statistic, it's okay if you don't, what the number of, we shared 72 businesses, I believe, including the 10 that you're approving this week, that have applied and received these supplies from us. Do we know a percentage of those that may have been repeats, or are they all new applicants that we've had?
I've only seen one business reapply.
Okay, so that's a really great number to know for sure. Christina's chiming in and just kind of thanking you for some of that feedback to the question that she had earlier on. And this is a little bit unique, and I'm curious because this is just for my own curiosity. We went to pick up some of the supplies, right, which are out there in Golden and everything, and noticed that some of the people that are assisting are members in service, or they've been stationed out this way to support with CARES. That's a unique position for them to be in. And is that something that's part of this program? Was it part of CARES dollars that now we have some of our service men and women that are supporting these efforts as it relates to COVID?
I actually haven't had a chance to go to the Emergency Operations Center just yet. And so that is really good to know. I wasn't aware of that. So I would love to explore more about that and see, the dynamics of how that's come to be, because that's excellent.
Yeah, I think that's terrific. Well, avoid the door that's for the coroner. We went out there, and I went out there with a board member of mine, and I sent him off to go, you get somebody who can lift the stuff. I didn't want to lift it. So he went out there and goes up to someone in the van, and he comes back. He's all white-faced. He's like, "You just sent me to your corner." It's like I was trying to get you to go get the PPE. Yeah, not pick that up, but I'm sorry for stretching you that thin. So Brian had another question. Thank you, Brian. You're like on it today, and I appreciate that. He's asking, do we have an estimate on how many businesses you can provide PPE for? And this is an interesting one, because there's a lot of variables that would go into the maximum that you can provide, since each one probably can get something a little bit different. But again, with how many supplies we actually have in stock, and our ability to give those out to all different communities, because it's not just Westminster, but all communities. How does that look in terms of what you're guessing you can supply?
I reached out to the Emergency Operations Center, and they don't have a cap for me right now. They just said, as long as we can obtain the supplies, we're here to help. So right now we're looking at 72 this week, and that was just probably about from the past month. So we still have, the rest of this month and through December. So I'd say we definitely could serve, a good portion of businesses and nonprofits.
And to that end, I know we've received a few that were businesses from outside of our community, and that's been really nice to be able to help them, not just in our immediate area. And so if there's not someone in the local capacity, it looks like you're sending them on over and getting them the support that they need from some of your area partners, which I think is an awesome thing for you to be doing right now.
Yes, I think it's something we all collaborate together. That's what crisis does. It builds that unity.
Absolutely. Well, is there anything you wanted to share a little bit on the new grant programs that might be kicking off later this week? We alluded to the online page where this application is, and that it'll likely be populated with a couple more grants come Thursday, Friday-ish, that some of our businesses can access.
I don't have any direct updates just yet as they are being finalized, but I definitely would encourage everyone to check out the webpage as all that information will be available to you to be able to apply if you do meet the criteria, of course. And so we're putting that money to good use and just trying to serve as many people as possible with, the money. You do have to spend the money through the end of the year. So we have, Q4 is going to be great. It's going to be very productive.
So this question comes mainly as it relates to the criteria. We talked earlier about how this is geared toward our small businesses, right? Which when we look at Westminster, it's 94% are small businesses. So you're talking for our market directly. And we want those nonprofits, we want our small businesses and most of our micro even to be able to access this PPE. How do we identify in the criteria for small business? Because sometimes this differs from criteria for one application over another? Are we using the, and I know you're using an employee count number, but are you factoring in the type of business that it is? Is it a national company with numerous locations? Is it a corporate? Does that even matter? Or are we just strictly looking at the employee count regardless of the structure of that business?
I have looked at, in the local level, some of them may have been like a national, but they have, what's the word that I'm looking for, where they have kind of their own business, but it is part of that larger organization. So I've reached out to people if I've had questions to that capacity. And it's just kind of that case by case when those types of criteria do come up. But if it is a nonprofit, we've been a little bit more flexible with the number of employees and to that for that eligibility. But for those small businesses, I'm looking at it in a holistic approach, but also trying to fit in those parameters.
Okay, that is great to know. Yes, local franchise, I think that's what we were trying to think of, to know that they can still apply and it's kind of case by case contingent, but the idea is still to support them if they're that smaller business that's there. Well, what if anything else do we have before I start kind of wrapping this up and out? Tiana, you've been a great resource to have. I know you're incredibly responsive to some people. That being said, when an application is turned in, are they seeing any delay between the time that they're submitting it and the time that you're approving? And I obviously say that knowing that you're not just staring at your computer typing it all out. So what is the expected, if I apply through, do I get an automated email that tells me, hey, you applied, thanks for applying, we'll be in touch soon? Or how are they communicated to after they've submitted the application?
There is not an automated email, but I would say the lead time would be about a week. I pull the applications once a week and then I go through the process and, reach out to everyone and make sure that the chambers are well stocked. And so it could take up to a week for me to get to them, but I've been able to stay on top of it very well. So the time could be a little bit shorter, but I would say on average.
Excellent. Well, I feel like that I've tried to pick apart as much as I could. And I asked these questions. I know some of them I kind of had a knowledge of, but I was trying to get an idea so that we're thinking a big picture of if somebody had one question, right, it might apply to someone that applies through and then they experience something on their own and later on think of that. So Brian is asking, Jeffco is a very large county. Are we trying to make this available to the mountain areas as well? Have we restricted it to just more of the urban? I know some of our response on the Jeffco side has been really focused on supporting our mountain communities, which has been great to see, including some of the sustainability grants that were kicked off and just overall grants that came out specifically focused on those rural communities. That being said, obviously PPE 1 does not specifically state that you have to be in a rural community. Does that mean that we've restricted it from them? Are we still also partnering with some of our partners up that way to make sure that those municipalities are serviced?
I'm working with all 5 of the chambers, and so we are able to accommodate anyone who fits within those lines of Jefferson County. And obviously we'll clarify that we can serve everybody in Westminster, but yes, the rural communities, outside of Golden or Evergreen, Conifer, I'm able to work with all of them and provide that. Not a problem.
That's awesome. That is great to know. And it's one of our larger counties here in Colorado. So to be able to service everyone at this time. I'm very appreciative of everything that you guys are doing and putting the dollars toward those supplies that we're in need of. So if you all are just now tuning in with us, we've had Tiana from Jefferson County's CARE Act team. She has visited more about the PPE program that they have. I'll likely bring Tiana back, if that's okay, once we kick off our grant program, so we can go in a little bit more detail on what those are and how people can apply through on them and access them. But she's walked us through the application process for the PPE, where you can find it on the Jeffco Corona COVID page that they have, where you can also find it on the Westminster Chamber page. A simple application that you can fill out about your business and your needs as it relates to PPE. I know several businesses have been using this, not necessarily for their employees, right? More so that they're dealing with a lot of vendors that are coming in and out, and they don't have that stuff on hand with them. And so this is their way of, as soon as they see a vendor come in, they can hand them those disposable masks, they can hand them those items, so that they're not passing anything on to the business as they're just transporting the goods to them. I thought that was nice to see that model as well being there, but it's nice to hear that those businesses, even if you apply, you can still go back through and reapply should you run out of the supplies, and that our county is trying to replenish those on a as needed basis with our local chambers. I know we've gone out at least twice now to pick up the distribution that's there, and what we're doing is more of a pop-up distribution site. So when Tiana does share back with you, you've been approved, she includes what you've been approved for, and then we as a chamber will reach out to you with the days of the week. So we had about 4 days this last week and 1 day this week where we set up our pop-up distribution site. We give you your items, you sign off the form, we take your nice photo, and then we'll post that so we can promote your company, but also promote this opportunity that we have with Jeffco. So I know a lot of you end up tuning in at the end, and I start seeing more and more people that hop on here, even though we start closing out. Know that this broadcast is available to you to rewind and rewatch at any point in time. You can give us that hashtag replay if you do rewatch it. And if you are navigating through the questions or the application and you have a question or comment, you can always reach back out to us. And is there a phone number or an email that we want to direct them to you on? I always tell people that they can comment it on the video, but if they're mid-application, it might make sense for them to try and reach out to you directly.
Would you like me to drop it in the chat? Would that be easiest?
Yeah, that would be great. So
Okay,
while Tiana is dropping that in the chat for us, if you end up having a question or comment about the video or the contents of this video, please be sure that you comment it into the comment section. You can also DM the page if you're not very comfortable sharing it out to the public, whether it's questions on your application or kind of criteria or something that you're trying to individually do that's unique to you. That being said, we are at our nearly at our 30-minute mark, which means that we have to wrap up. And by wrapping up, I mean that we'll be back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. for our nonprofit corner. This time it is with CASA of Adams and Broomfield counties. Most of you are aware of what CASA does, but they will be sharing a little bit more about kind of what they've been doing during the time of COVID, how people can support them, and newer efforts that they've been able to take on now more than ever. You've heard me say it time and time again, I'll keep repeating it. Our nonprofit communities continue to do more with less. And so this corner is a nice way for you to be able to see what they're doing and plug in where you can to support them. If you are filling out the application for the PPE and have any questions for Tiana, I have dropped her email into the comment section of this broadcast, and I'll leave it there for you so that you can email her and ask her those questions. Please be sure that you walk through the application first, and then as those questions arise that you reach back out, because she is doing her best to turn it around within a week time period. 72 businesses is a lot for her to do. And I just thank you so much for stopping what you were doing. I know you're in the middle of reviewing all those, so to stop what you're doing for 30 minutes and spend it with us and answer those questions, but guide people to the resource has been incredibly helpful. So I appreciate what you're doing. And I will go ahead and close out. Stay with me, Tiana, as I close this out. But thank you, everyone that's watched. Make sure that you share this to your network. This is free PPE that's out there, and we want all of our businesses to be sure that they have the access to it should they benefit from that. And I know many will once they know about it. So thank you guys so very much. And thank you, Tiana. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Have a great day.